Hi everyone, this is GOL from Lifeman Productions Squared, and I am here tonight to start off the second developer vlog segment or series for Space Crusade for our updates. I just want to kind of quickly go over some of the stuff I've done over the past month. And I've decided to change the changelog a little bit. Kind of sounds a little interesting. Change the changelog. Instead of doing it per day, I'm going to be doing it by the actual class that's been worked on, and then break it down per day like this. So, for instance, in the player class, I did stuff on the 1st and on the 14th. And I just think this is a lot easier way to deal with it because before, when I've been doing the updates, I would have to go through for each day and figure out which classes I had done on each day and get all the information from all of the specific class for each day, and then figure out how to a little bit of cooler air coming through there, and then figure out what has been done, and fit it all together in a kind of just disjointed, weird way. This way, though, we have everything that's been done together, and it's a lot easier to make sense of. Now, this way, I'll also be not changing the overall way it works on the wiki changelog, but I'll be switching to this format as well for the next update. But as you can see, we got quite a bit done. Most of the work has been done in let's see, station processing and station. Some of this stuff is actually redundant. I moved stuff and then moved it back, and been changing things around, trying to figure out how to get to work in a way that makes sense. But I did put a lot more work into it this month than I have in previous months. We're going to get more into that. Well, I guess we'll go into a little bit here. For example, in station processing, I was dealing more with changing and modifying things to take advantage of the new direction I'm going with some of the ideas I've had, adapting them for the storage angle that I'm adding in as well. That's where most of the message processing work has been done in, is on the storage end of it. I was going to do some work on Planet, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. That's why that's there. I had planned to work on it, but I never got around to it. What else? For player, we did some, I moved some stuff out of player. The inventory stuff, I moved it to station, because really it's not the player's inventory. It's not the player's actual inventory. It's the inventory of the ship the player has and of the station the player's visiting. So it shouldn't really be related to the player. That's the rationale behind that, and changing it and moving it over. And then I also did something interesting that I hadn't thought of doing before, but that I decided to go with because there are times when you want to add resources and when you want to subtract them. Now, it'd be just all too easy to make an add Zarn, or subtract Zarn, or set Zarn. Have three functions with X. That's really easy. However, that's really not very efficient either. So what I did was I went through and I said, okay, let's do this. Let's get rid of all the add and subtract, or not do the add subtract thing. Let's leave it as set, but pass a new parameter called operation. What that does is it allows me to indicate what the operation is. So for adding nuclear waste, for instance, it's going to send the amount of nuclear waste first of all, and then send the operation. And if the operation is add, you're going to add nuclear waste. If it's set, you're going to be setting it to something, and if it's subtract, you're going to be subtracting it. And I did that for all the different resources here. So that essentially takes something like 18 to 20 8 functions that would have resulted, and moved it down to just, and basically cut it by 3 times. That's what essentially it did. Even if it does add more complexity to the set functions, it's still way more efficient to do it this way, as far as code space goes. And overall complexity of the class. Let's see what else we talk about here. Let's see. That's really it, really. I started to do this, though, working on this, which is the installation of the weapons for ships and the weapon class. Let's see. Where are you, ship? So essentially what's going on here is that we are saying that iWeapon is to install a weapon. So if you choose to not store a weapon but install it, then it's going to call this function. And what happens is it goes through the array of laser weapon objects or missile objects or what have you, and it looks for any laser banks that are set to not initialized, which means that they haven't been don't have an item installed in them. Later on, I'm going to be changing these into vectors so that I don't have to keep having uninitialized elements that aren't going to be used. And also that allows me to have a dynamic kind of thing going on like I am with the user or the station and ship storage. I almost got a little bit too far in the wrong direction with that one, but and that'll essentially take care of some of the issues that I'm seeing, that I'm projecting, or not projecting, but that I'm predicting are going to happen. But I'll be working on that probably more. I don't know if it'll be, well, maybe right now. I might do it now. Oops, what did I just do? I hit the space. Actually, I didn't do it, whatever. But I'll be changing the vectors so that they are adjustable. But it looks for uninitialized ones, and if it does find one, it calls the iWeapon function in that particular weapon class, which I haven't gotten to yet. Then it returns true. And my mouse just died. And I didn't put up that message. I keep trying to get the message into this, in one of these videos so you can see what it does. But it never happens. But it returns true if it is able to install a weapon, but if not, returns false. And what it's going to do is if it returns false, it's going to force you to either store it, or if you can't store it or don't want to store it, then you have to get a refund for that item. That's just to deal with an issue I foresaw about how if you didn't have enough resources to get enough space and couldn't or didn't want to install the item, that you kind of be stuck. So you have the ability to get a refund, full refund for the purchase in that case. That's kind of what's been done so far this month. What I want to do now as far as getting into the discussion is talk about the damage system, because that's really going to be a really complex thing to deal with. Well, it's really the damage type / battle processing. I kind of showed that to you a little bit last month, this file here. But I want to kind of go over more into specifics of what's happening with when I mean damage types. My main goal for weapons and weapon types and damage types is to have weapons that have different effects based on the type of ammunition that's used, because eventually there will be ammunition that has specific types. It won't be the weapons themselves. Right now we don't have that. I'm not going to code that in because that would be a huge change. That would take a lot of work. I'd rather save that for the actual, full-fledged GUI version of the game. But what happens is that these damage types affect what damage weapons do. And it gets to be really, really complex, because you have to anticipate for those different types of damage. I'm trying to find the specific place where it's really most prevalent. Actually, no, it would be in here, wouldn't it? Let's see. Damage calculation. Yeah, here we go. For example, if damage type equals null, and the ship's shield status is up. This is for player damage, for hostile damage to the player calculation. I should further qualify it. But so if the damage type is null and the shield status is up, then you just do the normal kind of damage. However, if the shields are down, well, I guess it really wouldn't matter. I'm not sure why I had the shield status in here. For example, here's for EMP1. So damage 2 equals damage type dot damage type EMP1 damage M player, H team, and P target. So if we go to this over here in damage processing, or damage type rather, EMP1, or DTEMP1, DTEMP1 if you want, we kind of see this huge, complex kind of looking thing here. So essentially, if the target is the player, and that's from the player target that you pass, then you check to see if the shields are disabled or not. So if the shields are not disabled, and shield strength is greater than 0, then the player ship function disable ship is fired. Or rather, if the shields are under 0, or at 0. In other words, if the shields are gone but not disabled, if they're not, or let's try to explain this better. If the shields are not disabled, however the shields are gone, this gets fired. However, if the shields are so actually it's if the ship is not disabled. So if the ship is not disabled and the shields are down, then fire this disable ship function, which essentially disables your ship, the player ship. If the player ship if the shields are up, in other words, if they're not disabled, and if the shields are greater than 0, should probably say greater than 0, not equal to 0, then the damage is done regularly. This is obviously still not done because there will still be damage done to the ship. Else, so if the target name is not the player, so if the target is a hostile, then we have to look for which target it is on the enemy side if there's multiple ships. So if the target equals the hostile currently selected by ARGs, then if the ship for that hostile is not disabled, it essentially goes to the same thing. And there will actually be a damage bonus in this case, like maybe 1.2 or 1.3 times the damage if the shields are down but the ship is not disabled and the EMP attack hits the ship. There'll be an extra amount of damage, and then does the same thing as up there for the other one. And we have again another EMP attack here, damage type. Has a larger effect, and essentially we're going off of these. These are numbers of turns that you lose from the different EMP attacks. So an EMP1 attack is 1 turn, 3 turns for 2, and 7 turns for 3. For either having the ship disabled or having the shields disabled. Then we have... Actually, I guess I haven't gotten anything else. Then there's going to be damages like armor piercing that'll be doing more damage to armor than it will to other things, and so on and so forth. So it's really going to be kind of really complex thing to mash together and figure out. Here are all the different damage types we have currently. Piercing 1 through 3, napalm 1 through 3, destructor, which does a high amount of damage to defenses. Nanite 1 through 3, doomsday 1 and 2, stealth, which means that point defenses cannot shoot it down, or have a less of a chance to do so. Null, which means no special damage. EMP 1 through 3, virus 1 through 4, and then the mass accelerator damage, which bypasses shield and armors, the shield and armor, and hits the hull directly. So then all this information gets funneled back over here, which then deals with that information. And really, it's going to be very complex, but I need to also try and simplify it as well. But let's go ahead and take a look at this weapon install function, since I mentioned that, and we're over here now. Let's go ahead and actually work on that. Let's get weapon.h open this so we can add it. So class laser, we want to add to the public section here. Void I weapon. I'm going to pass int I code, and I'll say install weapon. Let's go ahead and we'll also add this to all these other ones, because it's essentially a neutral definition here, just I weapon. So it can work with any of these. I shall put a space there. Bomb. Alright. Well, really, if that's the case, we should just put it on weapon. Duh. How stupid is that? If it's going to be neutral, then there's no reason to put it on every single one of these. Just put it up here. Boom. Okay. So. Let's go back over to, we'll go to weapon CPP, and also let's bring over ship and ship.h. We may need those as well. So, weapon.cpp. At the end of this weapon section here, let's see. So void weapon I weapon int I code. And so what we need to figure out now is well, that's not really going to work, because each weapon has different members, different member variables. So I was right, we'll need to do one for each class. Damn. Well, that's how it kind of goes. You have an idea, and then you think about it and maybe change your position on that idea based on what you realize at the time. And of course, rail. Let's see, I want to go back up to laser and add it there as well. Here. Alright. So let's go back over here, and we'll move this down to laser. Alright, so what we need to do now is we need to obtain the information for this item and set it to the variables for this this class. So essentially the name, tech level, data type, or damage type, the range, low and high, the accuracy, low and high, and optimum low and high. That's going to matter more for laser weapons than anything else. So what we're going to do then is have to use the data system to gather that information. So we want to use weapon name, so weapon essentially all this stuff here. Let's just go ahead and copy this. Essentially this is exactly what we want to do with it. We'll pass this W code from here though. Let's see, weapon.h, public weapon. Change these to protected. Okay, that works. So I figured out how to do it. I hadn't changed that yet though. So essentially this is exactly what we want to do here. The information that has to be casted is already cast from the data system, so essentially this is all we had to do is just copy paste that to there. Except we're not in the right spot, are we? Damn. Duh. I'm gonna go down to laser here. Oh wait, no, never mind. That was where we're supposed to be. I was looking at the wrong one there. Weapon setup. So we'll just go ahead and get rid of this function after all. We don't need it. It's not going to be useful. Well, that's a... well, no, yeah, because they're going to have different things, and I don't have to be differentiating between which is what. So, back over in weapon, let's go ahead and remove that weapon setup function here, wherever it's at. This one. Alright. Back down here. I need to also do the same thing for these ones. Missiles are a bit different though, so let's see. Void, missile, however you want to pronounce it, I, weapon, I, or int, code. See, no storage. See, the decoration has no storage class or type specifier. That is interesting. What the hell just happened? Class weapon. It seems to have been fixed. Weird. I wonder if it was IntelliSense doing its stupid thing. Must have been. Anyway, back over to weapon. Seems to be fine now. For this, we don't need to do these optimum low and highs. We don't even need to do a low. I don't think. Let me see. Weapon.h. Let's see, where's damage system, or data system at? Down. So, null, 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 null. What comes, let's see, null. All those nulls are for what? There's that, see, so it's 2 before the Zarn cost, apparently. Max, yeah, so there's only the max target distance to worry about. There's no other issues with that, so we don't need any of those. Damage range high and low, yes. Damage type, tech level, W name, weapon name, all that is all it's needed right there. Accuracy, no. All we need is the distance. Or wait, that, never mind, no. We do need that. The high, duh. For bombs, we don't actually need any of that stuff. For bombs, all we need is this. Oh, let's actually make the void bomb I weapon int w code. B weight equals ds dot get and we'll check that against what we have here with bombs. Yeah, so here's the weight element here, and then all the range and all the range elements are nulled out. So yeah, that's exactly what we need right there. And for everything else, we're not going to deal with defenses aren't installed like that, and not going to deal with heavies or rails either. We may end up creating some similar type of function for defense points, though. Or rather, planetary defenses. but I don't see the need for it right this second. So that's pretty much that. Well, let's head over to station. Okay, I'm just going to walk through this, how this store item process works. So, we get the inventory size from the station, and that becomes the condition for which the for loop is ended, once I is equal to that. We get the current storage space, plus the function to get the weight of the item that you want to move in, which is going to be different from the bomb weight. I'll have to differentiate that. And then if the current weight plus the additional weight to be added, or space used to be added, is still less than the maximum amount of space that you have, then we continue onward. Next, if the size of the vector is 0, meaning that there's no items currently added, and we'll actually have to fix this. So I'll say -1 here, so that if this is 0, we'll add +1. Or never mind. No, that can still be 0. Well, it still needs to be -1 because if it's 0, it's going to just blow right through because it'll already be 0 here. So it has to be lower than this. So it has to be -1. So if there's nothing there yet, just go ahead and add the item in right away. Else, if I equals get I size -1, then you say inventory is full. So let's go through this. I'm just going to go through this once to make sure this makes sense now that I'm thinking about it a little more. So we have -1 to start out with. We're going through lower than 0, or this will equal 0, so that'll be fired. If it's greater than 0, then it'll just continue iterating through, and let's see. And it'll check to see if let's see. It's really kind of a thing that you have to do when you're a programmer. Just go back through and just look at what you've written and see if it really makes sense. And if it doesn't, figure out a way to make it make sense. So if your space is going to be underneath the maximum space, continue, and then if the size of the inventory is 0, continue here and go with this, and then end the for loop entirely. However, if this is greater than 0, continue on to this one. So else if I is equal to get size -1. But in this case, well, I guess it does start on 0 for vectors as well, the element enumeration. So if I equals the inventory size -1, so if if it's gone through once, the inventory is full. So let's say that there is one item there, so in the array already, or in the vector already, so it passes this, goes to this, I does not equal this yet, so it goes back through, hits 0, still not equal, hits 1, and so let's say less than or equal to 1 to this, so that way we can get it to work properly. So now it's going to go through again on 1, since this is 1, and it's going to say, okay, get I size is now 1, or now is I is 1 and I size is not equal to the inventory size. So your inventory is full, and then it loads up the cargo hold procurement program, I've called it. What that's going to do is it's going to load this function, which is actually a function here, this SBI slot, which is going to send you to the message processing. To this one. So, while not valid, you currently have X number of slots, or X number of inventory units. Each additional, so in this case it'd be 1, each additional unit will cost you 150 Zarn times your current number of units up to a max of 50. How many compartments do you want to buy? So let's say I say 10. So, we go 10 times 150, which is going to be 1500. And then that times 1, since we already have one inventory slot, so that's going to be 1500 again. So it's going to go through that, figure out that amount. If you choose a number where you have more than 50 slots, it's going to tell you, oh wait, your choice is not right. Else, if you don't have enough money, it's going to load this. And else, if everything else fails, it's going to go to here, and it's going to say, okay, you can purchase it, and it's going to set Zarn p-choice times 150 sub, so it's going to be 1500 sub, it's going to take 1500 Zarn away. And then valid equals true. However, we also have to increase the number of slots by that much. So we need to run alright, we have to return the number of slots bought. Actually, we already did that, p-choice, never mind. So that comes back to here, back to station, and sets p-choice to that. So if p-choice is greater than 0, that's true. If less, it's false. So returns true in this case, since we bought 10. So if B DA slot, in other words, buy DA, what the hell does that stand? I can't remember what this stands for. DA, what the hell does that stand for? Oh, did player, did add space, did add slot. That's what it stands for. Bool did add slot. So if that is true, in other words, when the player did add slots, then think of purchasing reinitializing storage program. However, oh wait, here we go, add space. I forgot to check that one. So that goes back up to here to add space. Stat add I space. Or slot, rather. Done. Station. Add I slot, go to declaration or about definition. So actually I haven't added that yet, so I guess we'll add those now as well. Let's go ahead and add those now. It's kind of interesting that I've forgotten to do that. So those are going to be voids. And actually the space is going to be... Is that a float or is that an int? That's a good question. I thought I had done a float. Not an int. No, it is float. Not int. So we need to change this to, that's going to stay as an int, but this is going to be a float. And what this is going to do is it's going to not add to the current space, but add to the max space. So, back up here. We say void station add I space float, let's say float f instead of I. And we'll change that over here. And then we're going to say, so station max storage space. Yeah, SMS space. Or storage max space. So SM space plus, or I guess it is max storage space, plus equals float. That's all you have to do there, and that'll add on to whatever you have already. So if we had the default 1,000 space and we bought another 10,000 space, it'd add the 10,000 space on, and we'd have 10,000 and 10 or 11,000 space total for the max space. Void station, this one's going to be a bit more complicated. Add I slot I into I. So for as long as I is greater than 0, I minus minus, I think it's S inventory or S inv. What the hell is that? Guess there's nothing. So what we want to do is we want to SN, if we want to create a loop that will add to that vector. So we want to go for as long as I is greater than 0, which means that there's still slots being added. So I added 10 slots, so it's going to go through this loop 10 times. Sinv dot push back, and I'll put 0. And what that'll do is it'll add an empty space to the end of the vector for each past for the past number of the past integer. So in my case, I decided by 10. So this is going to go through 10 times and add 10 new slots to the inventory. Now, the thing about that is that it's not going to update the that amount for the current SM loop. What is that? SM loop. Let's check that. SM loop station stat player and player. Type of name is not allowed. Well, it's not that. It's just I haven't included the creation of the stat type there. So that's normal. But what's going to have to happen is we'll have to figure out a way to somehow fix it, because it's not going to update the for loop condition while it's running. So this is still going to be registered as the previous amount. So what we'll need to do is of course we want to break it after this, in this case. We want to, yes, that's not going to work. We want to put it as I equals, or minus equals, P choice, I think. Oh no, because we don't pass that back. So what we'll do is we'll do this. We'll do a while loop all around that for loop. We'll say while not done. And we'll just move all the tabulature over here. Get all the spacing correct. And what's going to happen now is that what we'll do is we will break it from here as well. So break. So it reinitializes this whole thing, because if it goes through the loop and then comes back around because the while loop's not done here, then it is going to re-evaluate this statement here, and so it'll be more correct, or it'll be made correct that way. So we want to go ahead and do that. Instead of doing this, put a break here, and let's put a break here. However, here we're going to say done equals true, because that would be the case here. For this one also, done equals true. Let's see. Let's see what this says. So, SIS slot. I think what that is it's returning the value of the element in question. But I think we're missing a critical thing there. Name, blah, blah, blah. Get I size. Actually, it's not been added yet, has it? It's probably up here, but we haven't put it down there in the, get. Yeah, here it is. Get, so go to declaration. Go to definition. So we haven't put it in yet. So let's go ahead and do that one too. But it's passing a it's returning a string. That's interesting. Should be an int, not a string. Vector int. Very weird. So yeah, we're passing an I. So actually that shouldn't even work out right either. That's interesting. That should be redlined. Oh wait, never mind. It's different. That's a different thing. Go to definition. Go to declaration. Void store. So this will be store item. Get specific inventory slot. Again, trying to decipher what I've done before and how it's different from now. Get I... It should be get I slots, I think. Get number of slots. Well, that's really returning the inventory size, though. God. What was I thinking with this one? Trying to interpret what I was trying to do. Maybe it's over here. Get I... see, S... Where is the mention of I slot S, or of the one we're just trying to figure out what it was for? I don't see it in here, so maybe it was something I added but we didn't need. Space slots, blah blah blah. Station proc, moved them back. See, in parameter for I assigning a specific vector inventory element. So I have no clue what it was supposed to be used for. But when looking at it here, oops. So it's saying that if get I slots equals 0 to store it. So it should be get specific inventory item. It should be IS item, so it should be. It's not get IS item I equals 0. And again, that one was not, ISI has not been done yet. So we want to do that now. So, or actually int station get IS item and int I, I'm going to say return sinv dot at I. And that will return the value of that particular element. Now in reference to the -1 though, that could be a problem. Because it's going to send the -1 and it's going to error out with the out of bounds error. So we need to say so or we could just get rid of this entirely and just go with breaks only. Which case we could go 0 here. I think that's what we'll just have to do. Is not have a conditional statement, just use the breaks to take care of that stuff. So this way we don't have to worry about anything. So we'll put done equals true here. So that'll break out of the while loop. That should do it. That looks like it should. Okay, so we need to add done though to station processing. Bool. Telling it's supposed to be done. Let's see. So item storage is done. Excuse me. God, what the hell? And now it's some dust or something. Holy crap. So I'll change it to be done.